Hello fellow YouTubers, this is Utah Moses here for my Q&A video that I posted last week. And I'm kind of disappointed that not a lot more people posted a question onto that video, but for those of you that I have, I'm really happy that you did, and I'm just going to start with the oldest questions that they've posted to the newest, so let's begin. First one comes from the movie DVD pick, and he asks, how many DVD and Blu-ray movie you own now and box set? Well, I own 1,032 DVDs, 88 Blu-rays, and 40 box sets, and that's including to the DVDs and Blu-rays. Another one he asks is, what is your top 5 favorite 80s film and 90s films? Well, for my 80s, the Blade Runner, Raging Bull, Once Upon a Time in America, Grave of the Fireflies, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? As for my 90s, they are Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Boogie Nights, Toy Story, Pulp Fiction, and The Crow. Another one he asks is, what movie are you looking forward this year in cinema movie theater? Well, there really isn't much this year I'm looking forward to, but I do want to watch this month's Sucker Punch, Cowboys and Aliens coming up, Hannah, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake that's going to be directed by David Fincher. And he posted another question, and he asks, last question is how many poster toy memorabilia you have now, and will you ever go to Universal Studios and show us some stuff? Well, I wouldn't call some of my stuff to be memorabilia, but I'll show you what they are, and they are my movie bobbleheads, the Jack Skellington goblet, my action figures, and my Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back portrait. And no, I'm not going to head to Universal Studios, but I will be heading to Portugal this summer, whenever I can. Now, the next questions come from Steelbook Addiction, and he asks, what is the most awesome box set you own? Just a moment. The best box set I've owned is the Big Lebowski Limited Edition Bowling Ball. I mean, the DVD case is the bowling ball, and it opens the weirdest way that you can imagine. And I'll just show you. Where you open the top of this, and you get the 2 discs inside it. How neat is that? And only got it for 20 bucks. Another question, what is the greatest twist ending in a movie you've seen? The greatest twist ending I saw was in Oldboy, and if you haven't watched that movie yet, then I'm not going to tell you one thing about it. Last one from him is, what movie edition would you love to have, but don't because it's rare? Well, it's not really a movie that I'm looking for, but a TV show called Beast Wars, other known as Beasties, when they were airing it on YTV. It's like this 3-dimensional cartoon show about robots that can transform into animals. It's kind of like Transformers in a way. But the problem with it is not trying to order it in or finding it. It's just how much they're asking for each season. Like, for each season, it's like over $200. I'm not kidding with you about it. That's how much they want it on Amazon. And it's a joke just to get the volumes because they don't even have half the episodes on there, and they just pick random episodes from whatever season they can find it from. So, next one is from the One DVD Fanatic, and he asks, what do you know? As in, are you in college or working? Do you still live with your parents? Well, right now I'm in college in my second semester, and I'm attending for Acting 2 and Academic Writing. And I'm still looking for work right now because the economy is really crappy right now. And sadly, yes, I still live with my parents, in case you want to know. The next one comes from YHC Tower, and he asks, what old movie would you really like to see a remake done of it, and what director and cast would you like to be in the remake? Now, that was a hard question to think of, because there are so many movies that are already remade, or others were considered a ripoff of a really old movie, or other films are being remade as we know it. But if there was one that I would choose, it would probably be The Seventh Seal, the Ingmar Bergman film. Glad I got that name right, because at first when I watched it, it was kind of hard for me to understand because I missed some of the subtitles, and also there was a deeper meaning behind it, and I would really like to see another version of that movie to be directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who directed Boogie Nights, which I already showed you. And I would really like to see actors like Michael Fassbender, Rutger Hauer, Michelle Monaghan, and Saoirse Ronan in that film, and see how they act on screen together and how the performance and chemistry would work with each actor. Now, the last person is Ryan1988, and he asks, what are your top 5 films you are looking forward to seeing this year? Well, I've answered that question already, but if I was to break it down to a list, it would be number 5, Sucker Punch, number 4, Hannah, number 3, X-Men First Class, number 2, Cowboys and Aliens, and number 1, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake. Next question is, what was the top 3 best and worst movies in your opinion of 2010 and why? Well, for my top 3 best is number 3, Black Swan, because this was the film where Darren Aronofsky's direction really stood out to me, and all of the performances were phenomenal in it, especially from Winona Ryder, even though she isn't in it for long. And Natalie Portman's acting was scary as hell, and that's in a good way. And call me a faggot for this, but I liked a lot of the choreography in it, with the dance scenes for when they were doing the Black Swan play. And I liked how it kept on jumping back and forth from being David Cronenberg to Lynch kind of style of a film. Now, number 2 is Toy Story 3, and let me just say that I loved the trilogy, all of the Toy Story movies, ever since I was 5 when I watched the first one. That's all you just have to say about that. And number 1 is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I really enjoyed the movie, and I know that a lot of people are saying that there's actually better ones, but there isn't, because even though Michael Cera played the same character as he did in every other movie, I believe that the star was Edgar Wright's direction in this, and I liked how he was very loyal to the source material of what Scott Pilgrim was based off of, and I would say that this is the closest thing that I could watch to being the best video game movie ever made. And I never felt bored, and I liked how he established all the characters and knew how to make every scene in the movie, or most of it, to be funny. So that's why Scott Pilgrim is the best of 2010. Now for my top 3 worst films. For number 3 is My Soul to Take, because it's like Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream smashed together, both directed by Wes Craven, and that was a really bad combination. There wasn't anything interesting about the characters. It was trying to make it to be like this horrifying tale about a man that comes back from the grave, but it's actually just someone who's impersonating him, and none of the kills are creative either. Number 2 is Remember Me, and I only have 3 reasons why I hate it, because 1, Robert Pattinson, 2, that zany, annoying friend of his in it, and 3, the M. Night Shyamalan wannabe twist ending. And I'm just going to say it out to you that at the end, when Robert Pattinson's character is in his father's building, which happens to be one of the 2 towers of when 9/11 happened, and they even have a chalkboard written on it. I'm not kidding. Number 1 is Skyline, because it ripped off all of the sci-fi movies that we really liked. It took place the whole time in a hotel room, and the characters are just really, really unlikable. That's all I have to say about that. Now, my last question is, what inspired you to make YouTube videos, and what has been the best thing for you on YouTube? Well, what inspired me to do YouTube videos was when I started doing music videos with movie clips and songs, and a lot of people seemed to like that, but then I got my camera and decided to do reviews and movie updates and just some other little funny stuff. And when my last account got terminated, I was sorely sad about it, because I got a lot of subscribers on it and a lot of good feedback from it that I'll never get back. But I'm glad that I'm still doing this, and hopefully you guys will support me later on. So that's all for my Q&A. Sorry for how long it is, and I'll see you guys later. Until then, this is Utah Moses signing out.